Alrighty guys, feel free to switch a little bit further up the ramp if we need a bit more room. I do understand this is quite a big tour group. We might need to do a bit of swapping around every now and then so everyone can have a good look. See if you guys can spot one of our platypus swimming around in there. I'll be back with you in just one moment. To keep those eggs warm with, so she's using her tail instead, giving them a nice little cuddle to incubate them. That is some footage of earlier last year. Unfortunately, those eggs did not actually hatch. We haven't successfully bred any animals here at Platypus House, but we are more of a sanctuary here in the breeding program. We are just taking care of these little guys. There he is, coming to say hello to you guys over here. And the next step after this one is just a dawn building a little burrow. There we are, just some stuff that we can't really show you in here. We also do have a little replica of a platypus egg to bring around for you guys, just so you can see how tiny they are when I'm talking about them. And they really do just look like a little pebble. That's it. It's tiny, really, isn't it? Don't scramble up too much. Big boy come out of there. Exactly. Well, the puggles come out looking nothing more than little pink jelly bean. Wow. Not too much bigger than the egg itself. There we go. So for the first 3 or 4 months of those puggles' lives, they'll be suckling off her fur on some nice, yummy sweat milk. Doesn't that sound delicious? But anyway, I have been talking for quite a while. Do you guys have any questions for me so far?
How long in between reproduction cycles are they?
So they will reproduce once a year usually, so between September and November. Can be a bit earlier on the mainland or a bit later in captivity, but yeah, so it's quite a while between reproductive periods. Oh, is he going to hop on the bank? Alrighty, well if we're ready guys, we might head off to meet some of our female platypus and see what they're up to. So if you just want to follow me back the way we came in. Okay. So this first tank here, this is actually Dawn's tank. She might be having a bit of a snooze this afternoon. Well, later it's Monday. So it looks like she's having a bit of a snooze in her little pipes at the moment and might not be seeing too much of her today. And we should have a bit more luck in these 2 tanks over here. It looks like we've got all 3 other females awake at the moment. Perfect. That's what we got. Looks like in this far end tank over here we've got Poppy. Poppy is around 10 to 12 years old, which is around the same age as Dawn. In this middle tank here, over on the left, it looks like we've got Pumpkin, who's our youngest, right up the front here now. She's around 5 or 6 years old. The other one, who is now on the left, is Freya, who is our oldest, around 19 years old. We do also have a little yabby tank over at the back there. Usually we would feed some yabbies to these little platypus, but it is the time of year that we don't have any at the moment. The yabbies that we have here are actually an invasive species to Tasmania, so we feed them in here to get them out of our waterways and into our platypus bellies. So it's a bit of a win-win situation. Yabby throws.
They have to have it live.
Yes, they certainly do. Yeah, there's a bit of information about them over there as well if you're interested. But I am about to head out the back and give all of these girls a bit of a feed, see if that might coax Dawn to come out and say hello. While I'm gone, feel free to take as many photos as you'd like. Have an observe as to what they're doing. I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes, give you a quick break from my voice, get some echidna food ready, and hopefully have one more platypus out to say hello to you all. See how we go.
Is it Benjamin or Benjamin? Benjamin. That's Benjamin. More Benjamin. there we are.
She keeps kicking. The one who dies keeps kicking the worm so she doesn't
Watching that slurp down that. Oh, she's going to
trying to.
Are you covering your mouth?
That sounds like someone I know.
The big one's down here. There she goes.
Come on, it's more. I know you're still hungry.
But these guys, pardon?
They kept kicking the worm.
Yeah, and go right past them sometimes. But it looks like she's got one now. Oh, she dropped it. Never mind. Yeah. They're relying entirely on their bills to find their way around. Those bills are covered in thousands of electroreceptors. Got a question?
I just want to say that I go to this after school care and one of the educators' name is Freya.
Oh.
She takes me.
You like to tell her that she's named after a platypus. I bet she'll love that.
Her name is Freya.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're covered in electroreceptors. Some of them are sensitive to touch, and others are sensitive to very small electrical pulses. So they're actually looking around for heartbeats and muscle movements of their prey. So we have to feed everything to them live, otherwise they wouldn't actually be able to find it. Even those little bits of fly tube paint surface there have a little heartbeat in them. It's basically just a baby fly, so they can find it as well. But that's why they're moving their head from side to side so much while they're under the water. They're using their bill like how we would use a metal detector, trying to cover as much ground as possible, find any little bug heartbeats that they can. You'll also notice that they only really use their front feet to paddle themselves along. Those back feet of theirs are used mainly as rudders in the boat to steer themselves around. It's certainly very handy if they face backwards. It makes it nice and easy for them to just flick them out and make those sharp turns really quickly. And then as soon as they stop paddling, they will just float right back up to the surface. They are very buoyant little creatures. While they're active and hunting and moving around, they hold their breath for about 1 to 2 minutes at a time. But they can also do what's called wedging. So in the wild, if they spot some danger approaching, they'll dive down and wedge themselves under something heavy, like a rock or a log, to stop themselves from floating right back up. And while they're down there, they're just staying very still and slowing down their heart rate to anywhere between 1 to 10 beats per minute. And that allows them to hold their breath for up to 10 minutes if they need to. One of those bristly, scratchy welcome doormats that you get is very coarse.
So why is that?
Sorry?
How much time do they spend in the water each day?
They'll spend about 60% of their time in the water. So they'll only spend about 8 hours a day sleeping usually, and the rest of it is spent foraging for food. They can eat up to 30% of their body weight per day, dive up to 1,000 times in a feeding session, so most of their time is spent in the water. So I think there is something over here as well.
Oh, just the way is the tail line.
Why is it so
narrow and
so it is because their tail is mainly a fat storage area for them. So it doesn't need as much water as what the rest of their body does, so they can have that extra layer of fur. Does anyone have any other questions about the platypus?
If the female doesn't have the queen, what are the defences do they have?
Hiding, essentially. Yeah, so that wedging is a pretty good defense mechanism for them. You know, if they spot a bird of prey up at the surface, they'll dive down and hide from it until hopefully it's passed over. Otherwise, they can, well, I suppose they're still hiding, they'll say go back to their burrow and kind of, what's the word, like, stick themselves in there, like plug up the entrance to the burrow and go in there. But yeah, hiding is essentially their defense mechanism. They are pretty good at blending in, so it works pretty well for them. Very tempting, but you could have something on your hands that might make them a bit sick. And also, I'm sure I don't want a handful of spikes. That wouldn't be very pleasant for you guys. That being said, if they were to come up to you, give you a bit of a sniff, that is perfectly okay. They have no sense of personal space. But please don't reach out to pat them anyway. If you do get uncomfortable with them coming up to you at all, just let me know. I have gloves on and have been trained to handle them. So I can move them away from you if you'd like, but they are very friendly. They are not going to hurt you at all, I promise. Rule number 2, no flash photography in here. Photos are more than welcome. We just need to make sure that the flash is off because their eyesight is not very good. We don't want to make it any worse. Rule number 3, bit of an obvious one, just making sure you're always watching where you step. We have had a few close calls of people nearly stepping on these little guys, so please watch your feet at all times. They can be quite sneaky if they want to. When we head in, we'll head straight to the back of the room, make a nice big circle around the carpet. I would like you guys to be sitting down if possible. This is a pretty big tour group. You have a limited amount of stools around the side if anyone would like to bring those into the circle. Otherwise, feel free to sit on the carpet for, in my opinion, the best view. Get right down to the this level. But if you do need to stay standing, that is okay, but please keep your feet nice and still for me.
I know.
You've seen that before, you know. We missed you, of course you did.
And in captivity, it can be up to 50. So I've heard the record for these little guys in captivity was actually 58. So they can do pretty well. Yep. Usually one per breeding season, per year. They can lay 2 and they can produce enough meat to sustain 2 babies, but yeah, usually only 1. Good question. There it goes. Now this little area over here is what we call Thomas's castle. So Thomas was found as a very underweight little puddle, so he has pretty much been taken care of by humans his whole life. So he's not very good at being an echidna, to be honest. I mentioned that falling off those rocks over there a few times. He also doesn't like to eat live bugs too much. He finds them a bit too creepy crawly. So considering live bugs all an echidna is supposed to eat, he can have these bowls and wouldn't be a very happy chappy. And he has also tried to build a few burrows for himself and they all just kind of collapsed on top of it. So he's had to build his little man cave right over there. As you can see, like he's back around here, steps up every day.
Pretty fast. We should do it like that.
Does anyone have any questions about the echidnas at all? You just watch them all day, can't you? Can't make up his mind where he wants to go. Well, it does look like it's pretty much time for us to wrap up this tour today, guys, unless we do have any last questions at all. Thank you all very much for coming along today. Hope you've enjoyed it. We've certainly enjoyed having you here. When we get up, just make sure to keep watching our feet just in case we have any little runners on our hands. We'll get up that door there, that'll roll for you in just a moment when we collect up these bowls.